Bear Creek Feline Center sits a little over 15 miles northeast of Panama City. The owners, Jim and Bertie Broadus, weathered the storm alongside their 20 large rescue cats, including African Servals, Lynx, Bobcats, mountain lions, and Jaguarundis. They say those cats could tell something bad was coming, and they didn't react well.
They, were hissing at us and, running at us. Some were trembling, some were very scared.
Bertie Broadus says they started preparing heavily just 48 hours before the storm, getting tranquilizers and dart guns ready just in case. There was a laundry list of things to get done before they considered themselves prepared. In the morning before the storm, FWC called to make sure they had everything they needed. They say the amount of time it would have taken to move their 20 animals, combined with the fact that their evacuation plan wouldn't have kept them out of the path of the hurricane, is the reason they stayed.
We cannot leave the cats here.
Seeing the place now, you may not have guessed the eye passed right over the sanctuary, but Bertie Broadus says they're lucky to be alive.
It was nice and sunny, so we went outside to see the damage. It wasn't raining at all, and walked all the way around, got caught on the other end by the Bobcats, and we only made it back to the Lynx house.
Hurricane Michael's winds forced them to ride out the second half of the storm in the Siberian Lynx night house, nestled right between two of their cats.
And the center hall is where we stayed for the hour and a half after the eye went over.
This was all happening as the roof of their home less than 100 feet away was ripped apart. They say they tried not to focus on it.
You're just kind of nervous and scared, but we're so concerned about the cats that that kind of kept our focus on, the cats have got to be okay.
Thankfully, no cats were killed during the storm, and none escaped either, despite the fact that many of their cages were badly damaged. Chastin Mitchell has been a caretaker at Bear Creek for the last 5 years and says she was in shock when she was finally able to make it back to the sanctuary the day after the storm.
I was devastated. I was very worried about the cats. They were on my mind even leaving and before. And I was worried, and I was hoping that everybody was okay, the people, the cats.
She says trees were down everywhere across the property, but all the cats were okay, and that's what mattered the most. Bear Creek was then able to take the next steps, beginning with debris removal. The cranes came in to lift the big trees, which allowed staff and volunteers to secure cages and perimeter fencing.
Some cages we couldn't even get up to unless you crawled on your belly under trees and other things.
Then even more volunteers showed up to help rebuild the sanctuary.
They came in and, were trying to help straighten up cages and secure cages. Some of them had to be worked on and tied back because trees busted and ripped things.
She says people even started bringing their whole freezers to the sanctuary.
When the power goes out, then they feel, I guess, it starts to thaw, that it's not any good, so they brought their freezers. We had freezers plugged into generators all over the place. So we had tons of beef and chicken. The cats ate great.
As more and more people brought supplies, the Broadus family still gave whatever they couldn't use to those who needed it more. Now, a year later, they still continue to get help from volunteers and do whatever they can for their cats. In Bear Creek, Sam Lucy, News 13, Panhandle Strong.